normal bilingual code mixing, while being looked upon as substandard, even by those who engage in the practice, is nevertheless well tolerated. In this context, the vehement criticism towards the emerging media practice that now seems slowly spreading into the masses seems paradoxical. So the research problem is, the problem arises here whether this emerging media language should be perceived not as a linguistic practice that is firmly established in the Sri Lankan community, but as a strategy adopted only by the media. It is in this context that the relevant research study was conducted in order to discern the scientifically observable differences, if any, between the emerging practice of code mixing on popular Sri Lankan FM radio and the conventional code mixing done by bilinguals in terms of linguistic features and the motivating attitudinal factors of the two strands of code mixing concerned. Two groups were selected as the sample, urban and urbanized middle class youths who belong to an age group between 18 and 24, who appear by personal observation, who appear to follow the speech patterns promoted by the FM channels concerned. Then I also selected urban middle class bilinguals, again belonging to the same age group but who engage in conventional patterns of code mixing. That is, I used that group for comparative purposes. Then I also used audio samples of 15 programs from FM radio channels selected for the study. I used 3 programs from each channel. The method of free speech in code switch mode, presented and used in code switching research, was used for the selection of the samples on the basis of purposive sampling. The qualitative measure adopted was the number of switches produced per each 100 word switch unit, whereas the type of switches and switch locations were adopted as qualitative measures. As techniques of data collection, I used audio samples as I described earlier. I also used questionnaires. The questionnaires administered basically to all respondents in order to elicit data on their socio-economic and educational background. Then, for focus group interviews, dual moderator focus groups were employed in the study, where one moderator was responsible for the smooth functioning and progress of the sessions, and the other moderator had to ensure that all topics to be covered were there. Key findings. There are other findings that due to time constraints I am presenting only the key findings here. The quantitative findings: an examination of the audio samples of programs from the FM channels selected shows a very significant use of deliberate code mixing, which manifests as definite departures from the conventional patterns of bilingual code mixing. This emerging type of code mixing appears to be topically motivated, in that it proliferates in programs on fashion, which includes clothing, cosmetic products, etc., and programs on sports, cuisine and culinary, and in the interusing musical programs. Phone-in programs or host-caller interactions on radio are significant in that the callers or the members of the audience who call tend to code mix even more than the hosts. In comparison with FM speech samples, real-life conversations of bilinguals with conversational code mixing or code switching have a lesser number of code mixers but more clauses, code switchers, and complete sentences from English. The much commercially framed. By employing the densely code-mixed language in many of the programs here, the selected media channels have legitimated this code-mixed speech. Thus, in the hands of these FM media personnel, code-mixed speech becomes no more the language of the informal sphere, but that of public discourse. As the interviews further reveal, prolific code mixing is also a response to the preference of advertisers, thus reinforcing the commercial logic behind this choice of language. By overdoing the mixing of codes, presenters seem to give out the impression that they are at home in both languages, Sinhala and English. Though the significant factor that has to be taken into account here is that they engage only in code mixing and not code switching, which is a practice of stable bilinguals. The youth audiences too consciously choose to overcome these codes to express their desire to be identified as sufficient bilinguals. As opposed to the prevailing traditional notions that code mixing is an inferior way of using language, the youth audiences of popular FM media expressed a positive stance towards code mixing as a practice which promotes confidence and solidarity among peer groups. This means that the emergent linguistic practice is ratified by a segment of listeners. To get to my conclusion, I have used a combination of theories to interpret the data in keeping with Bourdieu's arguments on language and symbolic power, with regard to the symbolic power of some languages over others. English, in the context of FM media usage, has been associated with symbolic values such as modernity and social excellence. The predomination of English code mixers in domains or genres such as fashion and cuisine, elements of which people use to express a social identity, foregrounds this symbolic alliance people perceive to exist between the English language and power in its diverse aspects. In legitimizing the code-mixed speech discourse on the media, popular FM radio has made this unorthodox language its linguistic norm, which deviates from the socially dominant linguistic forms. The social cognitive theory on mass communication by Albert Bandura highlights the impact of role models in media landscapes on audiences. This also entails that the media has the power to legitimize behaviors, including linguistic behavior, which are otherwise devalued by the public. The present research study revealed that the youth audiences choose to imitate the speech pattern set by FM radio as the next best option in a context where most of them lack in the proficiency of English, to make the impression that they are equally comfortable in using both Sinhala and English. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ajay Mamli. And we will move from code-mixing to some sort of economic stock exchange evidence. I would like to invite Mrs. Anuradha. She is also a PhD candidate from the Faculty of Business Studies. She will be making presentation on momentum in stock returns, evidence from Sri Lanka.
Good morning to all. This is my part. This is part of my PhD study. That's on momentum in stock returns, evidence from Sri Lanka. This is the order of the presentation. Basically, I will cover that methodology background of the study, that efficient market theory, or sometimes say efficient market hypothesis of Pharma 1970, it says that in efficient market, stock price reflect all information immediately or instantaneously. So therefore, no one can earn abnormal return or risk-free return continuously in a market. And also it assumes that investors are rational. Investors are always making decisions in rational basis. So therefore, nobody can earn abnormal return continuously. So if it is so, why different assets with different returns? So asset pricing model developed with this issue, and they say that different assets earn different returns because of risk. Asset pricing models based on two approach. One is risk-based approach, other one is behavior-based approach. What we call capital market asset pricing model is one of the premier risk-based asset pricing model. It says that in equilibrium, the expected return of stock is positive linear function of market risk. So according to that model, only the market risk, so we call systematic risk, is the only variable that can explain cross-section of expected return. So according to that, only that market risk can explain expected return. This positive beta or the market risk return relation has supported before 1975, but after the Pharma method 1975, the evidence has shown some inconsistency because some other variables like size factor, value factor has found to explain the cross-section of expected return. So therefore, CAPM anomalies or the anomalized literature of the CAPM has arrived. So after that, in 1993, Pharma French developed another risk-based model we call three-factor model. In addition to that market risk, they incorporate size factor and value factor, another two factors, to explain the expected return. So according to this model, these three factors explain the cross-sectional of expected return. However, when it is tested empirically, that three-factor model also, there were some anomalies. Even though that size factor or the size factor and the value factor is captured with the three-factor model, there was another anomaly called momentum in stock return. It remains an unexplained with three-factor model and also with the CAPM. So what is this momentum? Momentum is a pattern in stock returns where past winners, past 3 to 12 month winners or the highly performed stocks perform as winners for the next 3 to 12 months. Losers perform as losers next 3 to 12 months. So if that things happen, investor can form a portfolio, we call it as a momentum portfolio, by selling losers and by buying winners. So we call this momentum portfolio. So they keep this momentum portfolio for the next period, next 3 to 12 months period, they can earn return. So this is we call momentum in stock returns. So this is a globally supported, widely found anomaly. It is supported in many markets around the world. Initially in 1993 in US, it is supported by Japanese treatment. After that, it is in everywhere, in Sri Lanka, India, in Malaysian countries, emerging countries, and also in European countries. All the capital markets has found this anomaly. So as a result of that, in Pharma French 2004 and also in 2012, they document this momentum as a puzzle in finance. Why that happened? Why it is not captured by even CAPM and also with the three-factor model. So therefore it is identified as a puzzle. So as a result of that, behavioral finance or the behavior-based asset pricing models have proposed. So they relax that rationality assumptions. They argue investors are not rational. They make decisions with the biases and some behaviors. They are biased with some cognitive errors. So therefore they argue these things are happened because of the behaviors, investor patterns, investor behaviors. So accordingly, behavior-based asset pricing models have developed. I have identified two models. One is that model of markets, model of investor sentiment, and theory of structure, theory of securities market, underreaction and overreactions. So these two models say this momentum anomaly arises because of this investor sentiment model say because of the investor conservatism behavior. The other one say because of the investor overconfidence and bias self-attribution. Likewise, they provide explanations. Even though these models provide theoretically acceptable, technically supported, economically developed good propositions, good explanations for the momentum anomaly, none of these models has accepted empirically. So this is a problem. So therefore, my research problem is that our investor behavior models explain the existence of this anomaly. This is my problem. This is my PhD problem. So based on this problem, I have identified these objectives. So in this paper, I have addressed this first objective, that is identify the significance of momentum anomaly in the Sri Lankan context. So this is my first objective. These other three objectives are remain for future studies. So I explain from this onwards this related to this objective. Methodology. Data and sample. I have studied momentum anomaly for the period of over 20 years from 1991 to 2012. Data, basically secondary data, as extracted from the Colombo stock market data libraries. Stock returns have adjusted. Normally stock prices I have adjusted for all types of monetary benefits, splits, right issues, bonus issues, dividends, and all the things I have adjusted using accepted format. The statistical method consisting with the other studies, I have tested this hypothesis. So here I tested whether winners returns exceeds the losers returns, winner portfolio return exceeds the losers return in the holding period. So the significance of these returns I have tested using these statistics. I have conducted this test based on two methods. One is without 1 month time lag between formation and holding period. Other one is with 1 month time lag between formation and holding period. Here I use 1 month time lag before in order to adjust the lag reactions, bid-ask price pressure problems, in-trading problem in the market. So therefore I have adjusted these things by keeping 1 month lag between formation and holding period. So those are the results of this momentum test. I have tested 32 strategies in Sri Lankan context. Panel A present the results without 1 month time lag. Panel B is present the results with 1 month time lag. That means after adjusting that lag reactions effect in the market. So we can see here 32 strategies. According to this result, it shows that there is positive return. So the momentum return is there except for the 3 and 3 strategy. Here 3 and 3 strategy means 3 formation period, 3 holding period. So except that period, there is a momentum for the other periods. However, except 6 and 3 strategy, all other momentum strategies returns are significant. So we can see with these results, we observe that momentum return is slightly higher when it is tested with the lag reactions, after adjusting lag reaction effects in the market, after adjusting the in-trading problem in the market. So therefore we can see that 12-month formation strategies, they generate approximately 1 month return irrespective of the holding period. Approximately they generate that returns. So therefore I have further analyzed these results by doing sub-period analysis. Here I have identified 2 sub-periods. That is, one is from 91 to 2005 and the second one is after 2005 likewise. Here 2005 I use because before 2005 there is evidence for the existence of the momentum anomaly. So after that there is no proper evidence for the continuation of this anomaly. So therefore in order to identify the continuous existence of this anomaly, I have analyzed this for the 2 sub-periods. So the results we can see it is supported for the strong presence of this anomaly in the market. So here for the first sub-period, that is 91 to 2005, that 12-month 6 strategy, 12 formation and 6 holding period strategies that generate highest momentum return for that period. Similarly, period analysis, we can see that 12-month formation period generate 1% momentum return irrespective of their holding period for the total period. So therefore we can see that anomaly is strong in the Sri Lankan market. It is there since 1991 to 2012. So we can conclude from this analysis that the existence of this anomaly in our market. Further, this is consistent with the previous evidence in the Sri Lankan context and also in the other countries, emerging countries as well as in the developed countries. Further, I have identified that 12-month and 6-month strategy as the most significant one because it has supported continuously from 91 to 2012, generating 1% returns approximately. So the implications here is that if the market is efficient, because there are some evidence to show the weak form efficiency in the market. So if that market is efficient, how that can happen? So these things not possible in efficient market. So therefore this is challenge to the efficient market theory. And also this thing can use investors and fund managers to earn some abnormal return. By applying this momentum strategies, they can have some sure return in the next period. So this is the implications in the market. So from this point I continue my studies to the next 3 objectives future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anwata. And that paper was authored by Mal from the Department of Finance, University of Sri Lanka. From that stock exchange, we will move into the next presenter. She is Mrs. P. Sirivardhana. She will be making a presentation on gender dimensions of remittance behavior towards a new remittance estimation method. And that paper also have 2 co-authors, Mr. Silva as well as Sampath Amartula. That is myself and Sampath from the University of Sri Lanka.
Good morning, everybody. My study is on gender dimension of remittance behavior towards the new remittance estimation method. Background of the study: international labour migration has been increasing during last 5 decades very rapidly, and according to that, international remittances also have been increasing rapidly. Now, remittance has become the most significant, most stable, significant source of foreign resource to Sri Lanka. So, because of that, many are discussing and doing research on international labour migration. Women migration, on the other hand, has become a center for discussion, especially in the social cost of women migration. Even though women represent the largest share of the migration stock, currently it's about 64% of the migration stock, their contribution for the remittance flow is not very clear. Remittance is the main monetary benefit that they bring to the country. So, however, their relative contribution for the remittance flow is not very clear. So, this is due to lack of comprehensive data of remittances, and because of the lack of comprehensive database on remittances, it prevents the researchers from studying about women migration and the women's contribution for the remittance flow and the socio-economic benefits and cost of women migration. The research problem, our study basically focuses on the existing method of remittance estimation, current remittance, bilateral remittance data, other estimations of RADA and SHOW. So, this method has, as we see, this method has some limitation in applying Sri Lankan context, especially when we are studying the changes in the sex ratio of the labour migration and its implication on the remittance flow. We can see some limitations in the RADA and SHOW method of remittance, bilateral remittance estimation. So our study focuses on the existing method, and the question that we have is whether the RADA and SHOW method can be applicable to Sri Lanka, or why it can't apply to Sri Lankan context, and how we can overcome these limitations. considering those issues. So the objectives, we have two objectives. First we examine the Radha and Shaw method of bilateral remittance estimation method, and then we extend the method and apply the new method for the remittance data analysis. So methods we use both primary and secondary data. Secondary data were collected from Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment as well as from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. And the primary data, we collected wage data. In primary data analysis, we limited this analysis only for the Middle East countries. The reason behind for our selection is actually it's hard to find wage data regarding with the labor migrants who select their destination in other countries except Middle East. And it's a fair selection as we think, because 93% of the labor migrants select Middle East as their destination. So the primary data are the wage data that we collected wage data from 1,864 wage data, and we collected this data from the advertisements or the job offers published by manpower agencies in the official website of Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment. Our key findings. First, we identified two main limitations in the existing method of bilateral remittances. Basically, the existing method assumed that each migrant send a specific fraction of their income to the country. So, specific fraction of their income is measured using a proxy of GNP per capita of the Middle East. In here we see some issues. One, in countries in Middle East, their main income is petroleum, and because of that, income inequality is very high. When the income inequality is very high, GNP per capita may not represent the real situation of the income of the country. On the other hand, the income inequality between residents and the immigrants in the Middle East countries is also very high. In this situation, GNP per capita may not be a better proxy for labor migrants' income. On the other hand, they have not considered the gender disparity or the sex structure of the labor migrants as well as the skill composition of the labor migrants. As specified in the human capital theory, more skilled workers enjoy monetary and non-monetary benefits at the destination countries. So these are the two main limitations in the method, and because of that we extended this method considering the wage data. These are the wage data that we collected, basically all male and female, in the whole group, and these categorization are based on the manpower level categorization followed by Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment, and here we can see that wage changes according to the manpower level, and skilled workers enjoy higher benefits while unskilled workers enjoy lower benefits. We extended this existing method by integrating the wage disparity, integrating the skill composition and the sex structure of the labor migrants. So we developed a rating system integrating these two. So actually the difference between the existing method and our method is, in the existing method they consider two factors in estimating the bilateral remittances. That is, one is stock of labor migrants, the other is the per capita income between destination and home country. In our method, we consider these two also, as well as we consider the sex structure or the gender composition of the migrants, as well as the skill level of the migrants. And instead of GNP per capita, we use average wage rate. It may be a better proxy for these analyses. And we apply the new method for the remittance estimate the results show that skilled workers send higher amount of remittances to the country, and the remittance per capita of skilled workers is high, and even in one similar manpower level, the remittance per capita of male and female is different. The reason behind is the wage differences even in the similar level of manpower between men and women. It is actually not a wage discrimination, it's because of the less opportunities for the women in the Middle East countries due to their cultural background. The conclusion, the commonly used bilateral remittance-based estimation procedure has some limitations. So it's the ignorance of the sex structure and the skill structure of the migrants, and the contribution of skilled workers to the remittance flow is relatively high, and females, even in the same manpower level, less due to the narrow range of employment opportunities offered to them. The policy implications: to gain the maximum benefit of the migration in terms of remittances, it's necessary to change the skill composition of the labour migrants, maintaining the current sex ratio, or else we can change the sex ratio by motivating or promoting the male skill migration. On the other hand, if you think of the women's side, there are narrow opportunities for females in Middle East. Because of that, the wage disparity even in the same manpower level is significantly high. So it means that it's time to find new or emerging labour markets for women labour migrants. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dinesha. And we will move from migration to an investigation of voluntary environmental reporting practices of Sri Lankan listed companies. And the presenter is one of our PhD candidates of the Faculty of Business Studies, Mr. Rajesh Menon, and the fourth is Ranjani, R.P.C. Ranjani from the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Canada.
Good afternoon, all of you. My research title is an investigation of voluntary environmental reporting practices of Sri Lankan listed companies. Myself and my supervisor, Professor R.P. Let's move to the background of research. So everyone knows that the environment is increase. And so therefore, increasing environmental concern. This creates demand on organizations to involve environmental responsibility manner, thereby creating need for the organization to provide environmental disclosure. So voluntary environmental reporting is emerging in Sri Lanka as well. So we can observe this information in the annual report in main part under the channel message, triple bottom line for successful reporting. The annual report we can observe in part. So research problem: there is no mandatory to disclose companies' environmental performance via annual reports or other media, as the government does not introduce law related to the environmental reporting. In Sri Lanka, there is no related to reporting part. Even the Institute of Chartered Accountants Sri Lanka does not have any specific standard regarding environmental disclosure. So consequently, report users have difficult to cross-check the accuracy of the environmental information provided in the annual report, unlike other developed countries, where public access to specific information of corporate performance are available. For example, when you take the USA, there is an environmental protection agency, as well as Australia, National Quality Inventory. But those kind of information are not available in Sri Lanka. So moreover, letter of warnings, penalties and court sanctions pertaining to environmental activities which were issued to companies are also unavailable to public. This implies that general public has no way of assessing information on the environmental performance of relevant companies unless voluntarily provided by these laws. It's questionable that various reporting practices due to lack of proper reporting regulations confuse the stakeholders to rely solely on the information provided by the companies for making decisions. Objectives to identify extent and types of environmental disclosures relating to companies. To identify the extent and types of environmental disclosures of listed companies. And second objective, to examine significant differences among the listed companies regarding the level of quality as well as quantity of environmental disclosures. So research method, so my research positive approach. By doing 284 public companies annual report published in 2012 or 2013, it was observed that 134 companies disclosed environmental information. Out of them, 40%, that is the 53 companies were selected by using proportionally certified random sampling, representing 20 sectors. Quality of environmental disclosure measured using the Clarkson index. So later I will show that the index. There are several components consisting hard and soft disclosure item. And quality of environmental disclosure was measured using the number of sentences. In case the tables or figures are provided, each figure and description is counted as one sentence. So here I have used the descriptive and ANOVA to analyze the study. So let's move key findings. So my research consists two parts, quality and quantity of environmental disclosure. First we move quality of environmental disclosure. So in the index there are 88 points. So out of that, so we can observe that average total quality of environmental disclosure is 12.4. So and also standard deviation also 12.5. Mean value of hard, there are, when you take the quality, there are two kinds, hard disclosure and soft disclosure. So the hard disclosure is 7.57 out of 72 total hard disclosure scores, whereas mean value of soft disclosure is 4.83 out of 16 total disclosure, so total soft disclosure. This is around 30% of total soft disclosure, which indicates that most of the companies disclose soft items than hard items. It is noted that around 39 companies disclose this information, policies, values, or principles. So related to this aspect, the many companies disclose. The following elements are not disclosed by any of the companies. Periodic independent verification or audit on environmental performance. That is the company not under periodic independent verification or audit. Existence of response plan in case of environmental accidents. And overview of corporate environmental performance related to the industry case. So let's see, I will show that quality and quantity. Not working. Okay, so here I want to do that. It's monitor. A1 because from A1 to A4 hard is divided. Government structure management system. So here you know that what is hard and soft. Hard disclose item. So when the companies only perform, then only they can disclose. Soft item they can imitate. Even though they did not perform, they can show in the annual report. The first one, government structure and management system. And second, credibility. So under that many aspects, one of the aspects, adapting DRI. And environment performance indicators. So this is a very important part. This is measures based on the 7-point scales. And environmental spreading. So these activities are only reported by the companies when they perform. Otherwise, difficult to report. And soft item, vision strategy, even though company not involved, they can mention in the annual report, it's possible. And environmental profile and environmental safety. For example, when you look at that, a statement about firm's compliance, so 0.42, that's mean total value 1. So when you look at that, many companies are explaining that we are we are following the compliance. And also when you move and so item, the second one, a statement of corporate environmental policy, values and principles. So this is also very high. So here score 0 to 1, but here look at that 0.74. So many companies are reporting this aspect. And also another chairman message, CEO statement, they indicating as they are following the environmental activities. So now we move to the quantity part. Average quantity of environmental disclosure is 53. That means that each company disclose 53 sentences regarding the environmental aspect in the annual report. So most of companies disclose higher quantity for environmental performance related to the energy use, waste management and land resource use. Approximately 5 sentences were reported by each company about statement of corporate environmental policies, values and principles. So another second objective hypothesis testing. So there are significant differences among the research companies regarding the level of quantity as well as quantity of environmental disclosures. So there is a significant differences among the research companies regarding the quality of environmental disclosures at a 0.5 level, 0.5. So subsequently, when I conduct a multiple comparison post-hoc shows that diversified companies significantly differ from plantation and manufacturing companies. And another hypothesis testing, there is a significant difference among the research companies regarding the quantity of environmental disclosures. So multiple comparison of post-hoc shows that diversified companies differ from all sectors except bank, finance and insurance. So now I come to the conclusion. Companies disclose more soft environmental information than hard environmental information in the report. So these kinds of soft disclosures can represent true commitment, but they can also be imitated by companies which do not really commit to protect the environment. Having environmental policies, indicating environmental performance in chairman message, statement about the firm's compliance with specific environmental standards are some of the mostly disclosed soft categories by the company. Notably, diversified companies disclose more environmental information. So, next to the bank, finance and insurance. You know that the bank and insurance, those are service sectors, but they are disclosing more information than the manufacturing companies, even though they are less polluting the environment. Further, it is noted that diversified companies differ from the plantation manufacturing companies regarding the quality as well as the quality management. So these findings more useful to policy development. So this study is my PhD study consists of 3 objectives, 3 phases. So this study is only the first phase and first objective of my PhD studies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramadan. I'm moving to the last presentation of the research series, and that is about toxicity study of traditional formula Alakalyana Irrita, and that is going to be presented by Mrs. Casey Pereira from the IIM in Business Medicine. And also there are 3 co-authors from the staff members of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Kalam.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the first part of my PhD study, toxicity study of the additional formula of alkaline. Still, up to date, there is a well-flourished Western medical system all around the world, but but 80% of the people around the world, they are searching traditional system of medicine to cure their diseases as well as promote their positive health. Most of these herbal compositions are effective in practice, but their scientific validation has not been verified. The utilization of Palakalyana is completely based on long-term clinical experiences. There is no data available pertaining to the pharmacology and toxicological of Palakalyana or most commonly used herbal medicines. Therefore, effort to elucidate the health, safety and efficacy of the herbal medicaments should be intensified. That's why we enter this type of research work. Main objective of this research to investigate the toxicity profile of Palakalyana on the plant models. Actually, in my research work, there are 3 parts. The first part is the toxicity study, the second one is immunomodulatory, and the last one is the fertility effect of that particular drug. For the toxicity study, we have gone in 2 ways to study the acute toxicity as well as to determine subacute toxicity of that particular drug. In acute toxicity study, to investigate acute systemic effects that occur on the administration of a single dose of that particular drug on rats orally, and to determine median lethal dose and the maximum tolerated dose of that drug. In subacute toxicity study, to determine the toxicity after repeated administrations of the test drug to rats orally for a period of 14 days. In methodology, in acute toxicity test, LD50 were done in 7 groups, each made of 6 of stuffed dolly rats of either sex, or been treated with Palakalyana with the single doses of 75, 125, 250, 500, 2000, 4000 milligram per kg body weight from 9 to 10 a.m. on the day of experiment. Control group rats were treated with 1 ml of tap water. Immediately after administration of the drug, the animals were observed continuously for the first 4 hours for morbidity and mortality. Food and water intake were monitored 24 hours for 14 days, and they were kept under observation during this time. Blood was collected for biochemical investigations for hepatotoxicity. In acute toxicity study, in subacute toxicity study, 42 male and female rats were randomly divided into 7 groups, 6 rats per group, and were treated with Palakalyana with the doses of 75, 125, 250, 500, 2000, 4000 milligram per kg body weight, once daily at 9 to 10 a.m. for 14 days. Control group received 1 ml tap water. Toxicity was evaluated using biochemical and hematological assays for hepatotoxicity and histological assays after sacrificing the animals on the 15th day. Results. In acute toxicity study, there were no signs of acute toxicity in rats after administering Malakalyanamrita at a range of doses including high dose of 4000 mg per kg body weight. All the rats showed a similar pattern of food intake, water consumption, body weight gain, normal behavioral pattern and clinical signs as that of the control group. No mortality was observed in the treated groups. The evaluations of the blood serum biochemical indices in the treated animals did not change significantly compared to that of the control group. In subacute toxicity study, the animals showed normal body weight gain throughout the treatment period as compared to the control group. No significant difference in food and water intake was noted in rats. 2 rats died during the first week of treatment of the 2 doses with 4000 mg per kg for body weight, but these 2 animals did not show any histopathological changes in their organs. In here we examine most of the organs, especially heart, lung, ovaries, intestines, kidneys, gallbladder, etc. Gross pathological examinations of animals that belong to groups of 75, 125, 250, 500, 2000 and 4000 mg per kg body weight did not show any histological abnormality attributed to treatment. But except in 2 rats, the group treated with 4000 mg per kg body weight of PKG which showed acute tubular necrosis in renal tissues of both kidneys. Actually that 4000 mg is 25 times more than the therapeutic dosage. Conclusion: the present investigations illustrate that those consumed up to 2000 mg per kg body weight in the Malakalyanamrita could be considered as therapeutically safe, as it did not cause either mortality or produce any toxicological effects on selected body organs. Biochemical indices and hematological parameters of sprout downy rats during the acute and subacute toxicity period of the study was normal. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, first of all, we have to thank all the 7 presenters. I think it might duty to first give a brief indication about how the research session, selection procedures and those things. I think according to the graduate faculty information, the faculty has received about something like over 100 submissions as abstracts, proposals, and from that they have selected 27. Those 27 has been selected by a review of panelists, and then those 27 whatever selected has been appeared or reported as abstracts over here. And since due to time constraint, we have selected only 7 presenters over here. Therefore, as a chair of the session of this technical sessions, I really thank all the 27 members who have submitted their abstracts, as well as those who present over here. Congratulate all of them. And also, I think I don't want to go over a detail right now, but I think there are all type of research material has been submitted, from fertility enhancing particular Ayurvedic treatment to Columbus stock exchange behavior. The momentum of, therefore is a variety of research agenda has been presented. But what is most important is that, as we discussed in the morning session, most of these research material do have some implications on policies are concerned. So for example, human fertility or the stock exchange or even code shifting, all those things are we need to discuss. Therefore, before making my own comments, I would like to open your comments, questions, your any serious concern about whatever the presentation you have. Therefore, it's open for your comments. You can provide your comments particularly targeting to any presenter, or you can make a general one also. Thank you very much. And it is open for your comments, and also it can be quite useful for these people because they are basically in the MPhil PhD program. Therefore, in order to enhance their work, your comments will be extremely useful for them. And also for others, those who are in other masters and postgraduate programs, that will be important for them also enhancing their research capacities. You will identify yourself and the target person who wants to for the presentation.
Okay, I am Samadani. I want to answer a question from Vijayendra. I just want to know whether you found a difference in the perception of each three dimensions, peacemaking, peacekeeping and peace building, between the civilians and the military.
Yeah, I think what we will do, we will take about 3 questions at a time, and then we will ask the panelists to explain their views. Are there any other questions? You can direct your questions to any person there, no problem.
My name is Indra. I would like to thank the FGS for organizing such a symposium. First of all, my question is to you, Rajeshwaran, about the environmental reporting on digital planning. Now, the new ways of reporting in annual reports, the integrated reporting. In that, I think this environmental reporting is mostly novel. Like companies like EMO. The last annual report of 2012, we saw that they have reported on integrated reporting some of the aspects of environmental reporting. I did see that you were mentioning in your research idea, but I want to know what your comments about that. Thank you.
For the first round, we would like to take another one question. We first ask the presenters to make the answer.
Yes, with regard to the question you raised, that perceptions in all 3 dimensions were taken, because we need to find out from people's point of view. That's why we have taken an example of 660. In the broad spectrum, we know that is to find out what do they feel about peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building, and how military would help them in this endeavor. Because finally, what we want is to achieve sustainable peace in the long run. So therefore, it is much more beneficial for them, really, the people who are living in those areas, than in Colombo and other southern parts, because they have been living with military for long years. In Jaffna, it is since 95 we were really in occupation fully. So therefore, with the change of perceptions of the people from above the army, military, that is from fighter mode to protector mode, the army is shifting their mode, and also how they perceive the role of army. So this has been definitely, we have taken the perceptual evaluation in all 3 aspects, and then only we have worked out our questionnaires, and again served them the same number for civilians and also for 60 officers, Army, Navy and Air Force. Have I answered? Okay, right, fine. It will be coming in our findings, but just to tell you. So, there was little disparities with regard to interventions or rather extension of our assistance during the stages of peace building, the presence of army in the larger sense. So we have understood that, and we have now refocusing ourselves, and we are going into a permanent encampment, and also we are leaving the townships. Budget, just to give an example, husband and wife fight at night after drink. Husband try to assault the wife. Wife runs to the army camp, not to the police. So this is our experience. Even today, we tell them, no, go to police, we can't handle these things. But still the confidence and their perception of the military is different. Of course, what the politician says, something else. The notes. Have an answer? Thank you.
Thank you for the interesting and important event. People are computer reporting three aspects: profit, people, and planning. So they call customer reporting or individual reporting or reporting line. But general public are prioritize more the environmental aspects. That's the one thing I have a focus on that aspect. Because many studies already done profit and there are CSR. But here, there's knowledge gap or lacking of research environment aspects. Therefore, my target to analyze the very micro level about environment aspects. So, therefore, I have focused on the environmental discourse.
Well, I think there are a number of other presenters also. In order to persuade you, if I take one particular research presentation by Mrs. I.J. Mabel, linguistic variations of popular Sri Lankan media. Of course, I can give you a very simple example from the Sri Lankan FM radio channels. You might have heard this particular kind of interpretation of particular presentations in different ways. This is a simple example. The channel is basically in Sinhala, but they mix English as well. This is a very simple example. දැන් අපි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ප්‍රසන්ට් කරන්න යන්නේ ඉන්දියාවේ ළඟදීම රිලීස් කරපු ෆිල්ම් එක සෝනු මුගම් සිං කරපු ලස්සනම සෝං එකක්. ඒක හරිම බියුටිෆුල් සෝං එකක්. ඒක අහලා බලන්න. How much of word mixing has been done? That is an example of some of our FM channels. That's how they work. Therefore, I persuade you to ask questions on other channels also.
I am Varman Surya, student of the evening program. The question is to Ms. Mawal, Professor in Milan suggested. Our generation is not receptive. This kind of mixing is quite uncomfortable with this. But the present day generation is very comfortable with it, and when we have some notes written by a youngster, they use this email or text type words in normal sentences. So that's quite common normal new generation communication. However, in your research, have you studied other languages in Tamil language channels as well as English language channels? But the English language channels use Tamil or similar words, they do the mix. If not, is this phenomena of trying to show oneself as bilingual, is it only limited to the majority community?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part of your question about bilingualism.
I would say during your study you found that some people tend to show off, I might say, that they are bilingual by using similar English along with similar sentences. Now, since you are referring to similar channels, I wonder if it is a phenomenon that is prevalent in the Sinhala society, or is it something that is common in wider society?
Thank you for the question. Yes, to answer your last question first, I think this is not unique to the single medium, the popular single medium radio. You find it in Tamil radio, popular Tamil radio also, and also in addition to single English and Tamil English chord mixing, you also find now it is an emerging trend. You find mixing between single and Hindi, which is another very popular form of communicating to the audiences. And the reason why I selected single English chord mixing was that I am proficient only in single and English. That is the reason. And about being comfortable in using about being comfortable, more comfortable in using single and English. Yes, I agree, and that's one observation as you have seen in my presentation. That's one observation I have made. And also, as the last comment that I made as my key findings, since majority of the audiences lacking proficiency in stable bilingualism, lacking proper proficiency in English, may use this code mixing as you use the word maybe to show off, yes, to show that they are equally good or equally comfortable or equally proficient in the two languages. And sometimes in my quantitative analysis, I have observed that they use in a definitely clearly similar structure. The sentence it has a similar matrix, but more words from English have been used, but clearly within a similar matrix, clearly within a similar template. Thank you.
Ask you a question. In your study, have you found that this phenomenon is because of the limitation of the vocabulary in either language, or is it some other factor? Basically, is it that the person is unable to pick up a word from single and describe something which is normally used in English?
Thank you for the question. It's not because, as I have observed and as the findings show, they are very well proficient in their main language. That is in my study, according to my study, it's similar. But you have to consider that we all do this code mixing, which I refer to as conventional code mixing in my study. When the similar in that conversing is similar, but if a similar word doesn't come to our mind, we may switch over to English. But this is not the kind of switching that I have found on FM media, because when the particular singular equality is very much it is very much there, but still they ought to use the English word instead of the singular. Now, for example, words like friends, fashion, program. I mean, you can in public discourse, in media discourse, you can very well use a word like repair or Pennsylvania, but they don't consciously. That's why I refer to it as conscious code. They consciously do it for maybe conscious reasons, and also I have, which I did not discuss in this presentation, but I have also found out that they deliberately use this unorthodox language, or they utilize the unorthodox language to go against the monoglot ideologies of the national radio.
Thank you. Unfortunately, my name is Karuna. I have the privilege of listening to the lecture. Very good.
the discussion. There's a minor question that I made, or rather a comment. Something I happen to notice in my travels in foreign countries. I have spent almost 45 years traveling, working in different countries, large countries and small countries. When I travel to small countries, geographically and size of economy is small, there, perhaps due to the fact that these economies are more externally integrated. I'm talking about countries, if you take those in Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and places like that, languages are more mixing with the local languages and one of the foreign languages like French or English. As opposed to larger countries, like if you go to France, they refuse to speak a foreign language there. And same thing would be found in the US, preference for Mexican or rather Spanish language is very minimal when you come to certain parts of the country. In Sweden, I say we because I happen to live in that country for, I don't know, 100 years maybe. So during my stay there, I noticed that there is a particular tendency amongst young people, the young people, to mix the two languages, English and Swedish, as opposed to, as I meant to say, in large countries. I don't know if this is what you are observing is a global phenomenon, and the phenomenon has been emphasized by the fact that these economies are more integrated with the global economy, therefore English or French have become essential parts of the global culture, economic culture, as well as public social culture they have to deal with. If you have any comment, I will appreciate it.
Due to time constraints, I will make my answer very brief. This is not, as you said, this is not a local phenomenon, this is a global phenomenon. And we find here is a reflection of the global phenomenon, but for different reasons. And also, it's there everywhere in the world. There are co-mixing sectors, it's there in informal settings. But what I'm talking about is the dangers or the new elements that are associated with those mixing that we find in public advanced communication media. Thanks.
Let me persuade you to motivate to ask some questions from the presentation of the Palakalyana Nirita. Probably it may be useful for some of you to understand this particular presentation was about toxicity study of traditional formula Palakalyana Nirita. Basically, this Palakalyana Nirita is used for fertility enhancement. When there is a sperm counts are weak, the density functions are weak, in order to promote for men and women the strengthening of female eggs, this Palakalyana Nirita has been used. Therefore, even though she has not presented anything related to the impact of Palakalyana Nirita on fertility enhancement, she has studied the toxicity part of it. Therefore, it is important to understand the toxic part of it also. Otherwise, you may confuse more. But now, she has just this one only on the right. Somebody to ask questions. If you have any questions, because it is studied done by the Faculty of Medicine and also Institute of Indigenous Medicine, University of Kalam.
your return against your investment because you have to pay a higher price. Just wanted to make an indication to that. Secondly, efficient market hypothesis goes against technical analysis. That's right. Efficient market hypothesis is primarily sensitivity towards information. Information is strong form and semi-strong form. So in this context, technical analysis was primarily on technical analysis is based on the hypothesis that history always repeats itself. But in instances where new information comes, like new announcement of dividend, this information on technical analysis could get affected. So would you like to comment on that? And the other one also environmental aspect to you, Rajesh, right? So because in many cases companies publish their environmental commitments as part of their CSR program. So are you happy with this sufficient information? Are you happy with this information as sufficient for your study? Extracting from the reports. This elaborate.
Thank you for raising the question. First question you asked that stock return, that is the stock return calculation, whether it's on investment basis or capital dividend gain basis. Yeah, in this case, actually it's not, both are not there, but here stock return means stock prices, that is all share price index, stock prices, not individual stock prices, adjusted for all types of returns. It means when there is a bonus issue, right issue, split issue, and also dividend gains, all are adjusted. In Sri Lankan context, there is no stock return file. If you look at other countries like Japan and developed countries, there is a stock return they are already calculated. But for our research, there is no stock returns already formulated. But here, the stock return, first we have to calculate. We calculate on adjusted basis on reinvestment assumption. That is the things I applied here. The other thing you asked regarding that efficient market theory. In the efficient market theory, there is three forms: strong, semi-strong, and weak form efficient forms. In Sri Lanka, there is evidence that market is in a weak form efficient. There is some empirical evidence. If it is there, these things, that momentum is like not possible. But here, that my result showed there is a significant momentum return since 91 to 2012. So therefore, it is question. If the market is efficient, why that kind of phenomena in market for the long period? So therefore, it has to rethink whether market is efficient or not. Or the other thing, we have to think why that anomaly. Is it not because of risk? It is evident. This is not captured with the risk. So therefore, there is a possibility that this is because of investor behavior. Am I answering that?
Thank you very much for your answer, but my question was that have you seen the relationship between these two, efficient market hypothesis and the other one, momentum?
Actually, my objective is not to check the relationship between efficient market hypothesis and momentum. My objective is to check whether there is a significant momentum in stock returns. If there is, this is evident, there is a momentum. So it is contradictory with this efficient market hypothesis then. If the market is efficient, not possible for momentum. But there is a momentum.
So I am not going to take the relationship, but this contradicts with that theory. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. Now, you will take a complete annual report containing the aspects of economic, social, and environmental. Some companies disclose under the sustainability report, and some companies report under the CSR. So, but as I mentioned previously, already started focusing on the CSR. But there's a lacking part, environmental aspect. But in the world, people are more concerned about environment because our planet is going to die. But in Sri Lankan context, computer is closed, but there is lack of studies, there is knowledge gap. Therefore, I am mainly focusing, my scope is environmental only.
We can take about another one or two questions before we wind up.
The question is from Major General. Few short questions. One thing is, you write in your paper that to ensure the crisis of harvest, fair, cultural challenges and language, so the policies are already there. In fact, I'm not challenging you, sir. I see the fair prices being already done by the Eastern Command. Brigadier Coding Phillips Command is doing fair prices for the harvest, but I'm not very clear as to what exactly the research problem is. And also the methodology of collecting your data. You said 650 persons were interviewed as your sample survey. Were the 650 people interviewed by military personnel or were they interviewed by civilians?
Just to answer your thanks for the question, and just to answer your first question about that's one aspect of one small question where they were asking for whether they have the opportunity to get fair prices. You see, during war and just after the war, you see 1 kilo of prawns in Jaffna they could not sell even to 100 rupees. So today it is straight away from Jaffna, from Lunaga, straight away loaded and sent to Colombo and straight to Singapore. So this is the level of peace which prevails now. And also, there was a serious monopoly in those days, in those places. One or two fellows decide and determine markets. But we had a system it took a long time to explain as to how the mechanism are working. We have a thing called development committees in each village, the military, the respected people in the society, the gurukals, fathers, teachers, principals, Gramasyandaris, so everyone is together. So once in twice a month, they meet and discuss the immediate problems. Of course, the police also we have augmented later on. So that is how we get the problems and identify problems, and wherever we could, of course the civil administration runs, there's no question about it. It's GA, there are 435 Gramasyandaris running there, 15 AGA divisions, all other mechanisms are there. But please remember, we were after 30 years of war, and people, mostly the government servants were under the aegis of the boots of the LTT. So to change their mindset, to support the people, that became a big task. So we had to do a lot of things. Now 4 years have gone, there are a lot of things that happened. So therefore, we have gone into a lot of details. So that is how, of course, some might think, looking at the questionnaire, my God, that a lot of things army has got involved. But you see, not really army, it's a combination of everyone. But initial systems, infrastructure, you see, resettlement of 400,000 people. Nobody could imagine how this could have been done, but it was done. I suppose no much in this world. There's so much of quick time we have done that. So this is because we have the infrastructure and the leadership and the commitment of the military to augment the system of the government. So therefore, similarly, each and every sphere in peacekeeping level, we have to get involved. Now, when we are in peace building, of course, these fixing fair prices doesn't come into play. I'm sorry, I am not, because it's 36 minimum slides, so I have to concise it to 12. So therefore, peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building, all three are put into one basket. That's, I think, what the confusion. But otherwise, what you are asking me, madam, is peacekeeping level, the days of peacekeeping, what we did. Have I answered?
Referring to the human Galton method, yes, that method itself has not been successfully defended. In fact, in many places where it was practically the cross-checking of the practical ground situations and Galton's method, it was not considered a successful thing.
Can I answer? Now, Professor Galton came in 2003 to Sri Lanka, and he came and he said it is very difficult to win this war militarily and to attain peace. But we have proved that we could do it and we have done it. So you see, all these proponents who have spoken about many theories, but we have, Sri Lanka is a classic case, we have proved many things otherwise, not only military. So therefore, Galton's theory, Professor Galton, with a lot of due respect to him, is a phenomena which have been accepted all over. So I have taken his theory as well, and also Professor Lebraj. There are dimensions to this is reconciliation here. So all those things have been taken into account, and we have read the questionnaire. We have not taken anything from Galton's, but we have taken guidelines and dimensions and the aspects of his thinking about negative and positive peace have been taken into account in formulating the questionnaire. Yes, ma'am.
We can take probably the last question from the audience. If there is any burning question before lunch.
This is not a question, however, this is a suggestion I can make to whether Maidava, however, I can pronounce the name, however. So we have taken a sample of the teacher discipline from the Katna University, from the Motion Implementation, from the however, can you, if you want to generalize your mind, I suggest you take a representative sample covering entire Sri Lanka. So by taking just 36 elements for your study, such a big study cannot be completed. If you want to generalize your way, I suggest you to increase the elements of the population to make the representative.
Thank you for your suggestion, sir. I will accept your comment. I am a teacher educator. I will conduct biological methods and physical methods both through. That's a convenient sample. I will. It is not a generalization. That's a pilot study, sir. I will accept your comments. I will consider.
I think first of all I need to thank all the presenters. I think we had a variety of presentations from the presentation about the military leadership and also the peace building process, civil war period, and the last presentation was on the toxicity and the I think what is extremely important is that we really need to thank for the Faculty of Graduate Studies allowing postgraduate candidates to present their material in the first place, and also even though we are unable to allow them to present for all of them, we are able to accommodate their research findings and their research work in this publication. Therefore, it will be useful for most of the people for their subsequent research activities to go through these things and also to improve their own research material. Through that, it is extremely possible for us to develop the research culture in the university system. As we noticed in the morning session that research culture has deteriorated significantly in the Sri Lankan system. And also it is extremely important for us to understand most of these publications do have a lot of policy implications. In order to highlight that particular scenario, the policy implications, I would like to take only one simple example. Of course, all these presentations do have some policy implications. The presentation which was made by Mrs. Sirivardhana, Dinesha Sirivardhana, she studied about the Sri Lankan labour migrants to Middle East, and also we know that about 6,000 million US dollars we are receiving annually, and also we know that around 62% of the stock in the Middle East and elsewhere they are females. Therefore, more females we have in the stock of migrants, the lesser portion of men. If we can change this sex structure, if we can change the sex structure more favorable to men, of course naturally we can have more remittances. Why? The females on average per person tend to get a salary much lower than the men. Why? Among the female migrants, almost 90% are domestic workers, so what we call the housemaids. Therefore, if we can change the sex structure of the migrants, and also by changing the employment levels of these migrants, even though the sex structure remains constant, if we can change the employment levels of these migrants, we should be able to attract more foreign remittances to the country. It has many implications. It has many implications, nexus between migration, remittances and development, welfare of the families, welfare of the migrants, and the investment, savings, economic boom, and so many other things. Of course, there are policies on labour migrants, there are policies on employment policies, human resource management, myself and the Professor Sunil Chansiri and some other members are involved in has developed and the country is implementing. And what our plea is that those candidates who are in the MPhil PhD program as well as in the other postgraduate programs, they have to look at particularly what is the policy implications of my particular study. So for example, now there are a lot of discussion about this code shifting, whether it is good for the society, whether it is good for the languages, or whether the culture gets somewhat deteriorated, culture gets somewhat poisoned, or that kind of thing we need to discuss in more detail. But of course we are unable to discuss things in more detail. But there are different arguments. As a researcher, you have to discuss both merits and demerits. It is very important that you should not produce your own arguments. You should come up with the appropriate research methodology and then find views, information, data and analyze those information data and come up with your results. And based on your results, make your conclusions. And also based on your conclusions, you can make suggestions and recommendations. By that single thought that I would like to wind up this particular session, and I particularly thank again the Faculty of Graduate Studies, the Dean Faculty of Graduate Studies, Professor Chansiri, and also the all administrative staff, and all our colleagues from the visiting staff, and also all the postgraduate candidates who are here, present over here, and also those who made presentations, and also those who were able to successfully accommodate their abstract in this publication, and those who are not able to accommodate the abstract, they should try it next time. They should get more encouragement. Probably we can have a little thick one next time. Therefore, I wish you good luck, and I would like to hand over session to the Professor Chancellor, Dean of the Faculty. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Before I get on to my normal speak, let me thank two important units of this service package, that is medical faculty media unit and also the Faculty of Science, the fasting unit. So these two officials from these two units actually have been broadcasting the entire session from early morning. All these discussions are being immediately uploaded to the web. So I would like to greatly appreciate their support and thanks very much for your content support. I know early morning you work in set up the system and with great service, which can be appreciated. That would be a strong encouragement for all of our students. Plus, this is the kind of debate that this faculty believes in dissemination of knowledge. So your contribution is indeed a great service in promoting postgraduate work. When I noticed debates going on the INRAS, this language switching, plus especially the political leadership and peacekeeping and some of the questions eagerly debating about the technology, I thought that was an excellent way of disseminating information and promoting very research issues in a more detailed and more professional manner. So two more items the next item is the award of certificates. I would like to ask you some of these. You can note these certificates. First one is General by Dr. Singh. The others was abstract now being published in the booklet. MC Vikramaran. GD Symposium. MS Patrana. IS Palagola. Suneta Surya. SJ Sri Janduka. CMC Triman. Rodrigo. AT Veerasuriya. MK Gunadilaka. WWTJ Pereira. DB Suravira. T Mukunda. LK Dulavira. Ramani Jayasundara. S. Sivasubramaniam. RGPL Jayasekara. Next is Sami Ahmad, he is a Nigerian student. Este Smita Raki. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to present the parking appreciation of first class service. Thanks.